Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's topic is product owners' unavailability during sprint planning and sprint closure, how to manage this situation. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about two scenarios. Product owner is unavailable during the sprint planning and sprint closure time. How are we going to manage this situation? First situation is sprint planning time, product owner is unavailable. Due to some emergency situation, product owner is unable to attend the sprint planning meeting. Now, how team will come with the sprint goal and the respective sprint backlog items of the sprint? First thing is we should understand one thing. We should use the backlog refinement event in a very effective way. And there is one more thing that we need to do as part of an action that should continuously happening. What are those two things? First, let's understand in backlog refinement. In backlog refinement, whenever we are trying to understand a particular work item, we understood the dependencies, risk, everything, and we estimated also. Always ask the product owner to put the work item in the respective place in the product backlog. What is the respective place means? Whether it is on the top of the list, obviously most of the work items that product owner is explaining in the backlog refinement has high priority, so automatically you can see those items are always on the top of the list. But if product owner have not moved that yet, always ensure that product owner is moving these work items to the top of the list. And always product owner should do one more thing: align with the product management team, and whenever there are priority changes happening, that should immediately reflect on the product backlog list. We already discussed in one of our episode what is ordering in the product backlog. This is very important, because for not only for team, for stakeholders, and for everyone to understand what is the priority of the work items in the product backlog, this ordering is very important. And when someone is not available, like this in our situation, product owner is unavailable to handle the sprint planning, still as a team we will be able to manage the situation, because we know what is the order and we know clearly what is in the top of the list that holds the highest priority. This is one option. So the first option is, first thing in the backlog refinement, ensure whenever you are doing the refinement, always ensure that which place this item should be placed, that should be placed accordingly. And the second one, always the ordering should be keep happening, checking the priorities with the product management team. It should reflect immediately in the product backlog. The next one is, in the sprint review, we already know that sprint review is all about current sprint and the coming sprint, which means the completed sprint and the upcoming sprint. Whatever the work items as working product that we created as part of our completed sprint, we will be showcasing that to our stakeholders and get their feedback and work accordingly based on the feedback. That is one part of the sprint review. The second part is also going to be with a review of the work items that as a team that we are going to work on the upcoming sprint. So when we say that we are going to work on the details, whatever the things that we are going to work, then please ensure that every sprint review we have an agenda item that is saying that what are the work items that we are planning to work. If not the details of work item, at least review the high level goal. So what is the advantage of this? The high level goal, if we are discussing, then stakeholders will say, no, the priority has changed, please do not work on this, work on that. And as a team, every team member is aware of what we are expecting in the upcoming sprint, in the immediate sprint which is going to start tomorrow, or maybe which is going to start mostly it will be tomorrow, because sprint review happens mostly on the last day of the sprint. So this kind of agenda in the sprint review also helps team to understand what is the sprint goal, at least in high level. So now With all this information, what are we trying to understand? Even if product owner is unavailable during certain situations, still as a team, we know what is the high level goal that was in the mind of product owner. And as a team, are we also aligned with that? Because in the sprint review, when we are discussing, we are almost aligned with that goal. Then only it will be discussed in the sprint review. And always have the habit of asking the details in the backlog refinement about the priority, about the upcoming sprint's expectations. What are the things that we are going to look in the upcoming sprint? And also always order the work items in the product backlog. If these three best practices are followed in the team, then even if product owner is unavailable because of an emergency situation, still team is knowing what is the sprint goal that needs to be taken care in the sprint, and according to that they will be able to align the work items that should come in the sprint backlog. So this is about sprint planning. If in case, one more point I just want to add, if in case you know that product owner is going on for a vacation or a planned leave during the sprint planning, Scrum Master should take this responsibility in getting certain details with the help of the technical lead or the team lead who can help Scrum Master and prepare this plan, prepare these details, whatever the question, so that you will not be blocked and you will not be investing so much time just because product owner is unavailable. So this is one action Scrum Master can take based on if you know that product owner is not going to be available. If in case it's an emergency leave, as I mentioned, we cannot immediately find a solution, but with best practices that certainly we follow, we will not get into any kind of trouble. We will be able to manage this situation very gracefully. So this is about sprint planning. Now, sprint closure. There are many work items that are getting uh, completed. But who is going to accept this? Team is waiting for product owner, but product owner, because of an emergency situation, unfortunately, he or she is unavailable for few days. But we need to complete the sprint. Sprint is not going to wait because it is a time boxed event. So now we are in a critical situation. So how to handle this? It's a very, very simple situation, not to get into any panic mode because we already have the solution in place. What is the solution? It is called as definition of done. When we know that definition of done checklist is met for a work item, that means the work item is in a state for acceptance. How we are concluding this and saying this? Because on what basis we are preparing this checklist called definition of done? Definition of done is a checklist which is prepared completely based on when we can say that this work item can be accepted. What are the things that we need to cover in the work item so that I can call this work item can be accepted? When we say and when we have already the checklist available, do we really need product owner to confirm that? No. What we can do? We can very well take this within the team when product owner is unavailable. So what we can do, for example, I have worked on a particular user story or a work item. My team member, other team member can pick up the work item and close it, saying that it is meeting the checklist of definition of done. All the checklist items are met. So this work item can be accepted. So for closure, it is really not necessary that who is accepting. It is very important whether we are meeting all the checklist items that cover whether we can accept or not. What is the checklist? Definition of done. That is the reason we say that definition of done should have all the things that we claim and say that these all things are required or these all things need to be met so that we can say that it can be accepted. So in situations where product owner is unavailable and team is in a situation to close the work items or accept the work items, follow the definition of done checklist and go ahead for acceptance. So this is for the second part of the question during the closure. So if in case product owner is unavailable, during the sprint planning and during the closure of the sprint, how to manage the situation as a team. We have discussed in this episode using very simple practices so that we will be able to manage this kind of situations. But ensure that these practices are already getting followed in the team, then it will be really beneficial. Otherwise, we will be in a situation where we have no practice already followed. We will not be able to manage it gracefully. So, as a team, we should follow these best practices. I think this episode would have helped you in understanding about some best practices and manage these kind of situations, crucial situations in the team. Thank you everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.